And I realized, okay, I really don't think 5 to 10 minutes at the patient's bedside, I'm going to help them, really heal on that level that most people really need in today's world.
Welcome to another episode of Real Talk No Filtre. My guest today is Hilary. Hilary has over 20 years of being an RN in the nursing field. However, at some point, she decided to call it quits because she got burnt out. Her marriage was crumbling and she started to turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as drinking too much wine, which then led to a DUI. She also felt that the medical practice was not what she believed in. She believes in healing the mind and healing the body through spiritual ways and also looking at a diet versus prescription. This is our talk.
So I probably known since I was like 6 or 7 that I wanted to be a registered nurse for my career. So I took all the necessary steps and I succeeded. I graduated nursing school back in 2000. And so I've been a nurse for almost 21 years now. Backtrack a couple of years ago, my marriage we had problems on and off for about a decade and in and out of counseling. And I was just kind of turning to super unhealthy coping mechanisms, the bottle and a half of wine every night, and very, very unhealthy things. And then the universe gave me a really wonderful gift in super shitty wrapping paper as a DUI. So that really was a huge catalyst for me to look at where I was in my life and look at the things I was doing and the patterns that were there, and really realized a lot of stuff had to change. So I became vegan for 6 months. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, but I did miss cheese. So I decided I was going to go vegetarian, which is where I sit now. So super happy about that. And then within my career, that kind of was a catalyst for change with that as well. I've done a little bit of every type of specialty within the nursing field over my career, and just was looking at the deep healing that I needed to go through, status post my DUI. Lots of emotional and mental rewiring had to be done for me. And I realized, okay, I really don't think 5 to 10 minutes at the patient's bedside, I'm going to help them, really heal on that level that most people really need in today's world, especially with all the craziness that's going on today. So I realized I wanted to pursue, which I thought about for years now, pursue a career in coaching. So I now am a transformative coach and manifestation coach for predominantly women and women entrepreneurs. So it's so much more fulfilling for me. I'm so much happier. I'm so much healthier, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So that's essentially my Reader's Digest version, the Cliff Notes, if you will.
That is awesome. You mentioned 21 years of nursing. To really give that up, that's hard to do. And I must say that because, like you mentioned, at such a young age, you want to go into nursing. I'm pretty sure you probably have a heart and a mindset to help people. And that's why one of the reasons why you actually want to get into nursing. As we had a previous conversation, I have a couple members of mine that are RN and RPN and also PSW workers as well. And they are passionate with that work as well of helping others. And then you mentioned that you switched from the RN to just stuff going, I guess, physically healing, more of a mental healing and spiritual healing more than anything, which is fantastic. Were you a nurse during COVID, like when it first started? And
Yes.
And to be honest with you, how was it pre and during COVID on the nursing side of things?
It was really interesting. At the beginning, I had worked at a GI clinic where we did endoscopies and colonoscopies, super fun stuff. So we did elective procedures. So at the beginning, when everything went down, we actually got furloughed. And, because we weren't allowed to do the screening types of procedures. So that was very interesting. And the time off gave me a lot of time to think about, my career and what kind of impact I wanted to have on people. So it was definitely a blessing in disguise going through that. And then we came back to work a couple months later, and just the caseload was very much lower than it had been previously. So yeah, it just, COVID changed a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a nurse, what are things that you feel that the nursing field, or I'll say the medical field, is actually missing on treating patients?
Huge topic for me, this one. I really believe that in this country, and largely in the world, we have reactive medicine. So it's just, yeah, I have high blood pressure. Great, here's a pill. Oh, this isn't working. Okay, we'll double your dose, or here, take a different pill. In my whole career, I have heard probably on two hands the number of times that a physician would talk to the patient. Oh, you have high blood pressure. Okay, how's your diet? You know, what types of foods are you eating? Are you eating processed food? Are you eating whole plant-based foods? Are you, do you have healthy relationships? Are you stressed out? Do you hate your job? Do you, all those other types of factors. And I actually went through certification to become a nurse coach. Within that, I did learn that 80% of physical ailments can be completely reversed or completely prevented by lifestyle changes. And that's just something that's not taught in this country. And that was another really big thing for me that that COVID really opened my eyes about, because here they are pushing a vaccine, just, and never throughout this, they're like, stay away from people, wear your mask, get the shot. Never do they talk about actual ways to improve your immune system and your overall health without these strategies that they give. We're not supposed to stay away from people. We're not meant to stay away from people. A person's vibrational energetic field is about 6 to 10 feet. So you're not getting human connection. You're not you're not seeing people's faces. You need to see people's faces. That's how we read people, that we see people smile. That's how children learn, social cues. You're supposed to stay inside, lock yourself in your house. You need sunlight for your immune system, for your health, for your body. All these things that they were telling us to do were super counterintuitive to what promotes actual health and healing. So that was really disheartening for me to see that. So it just really began to feel out of alignment for me, the whole medical system in general. It was a difficult decision for me to make, just because obviously 20-year career, but yeah. I feel overall very much aligned with what the work that I'm doing now.
So you mentioned something that's very interesting. And how did you cope with all those restrictions? Because you seem like a very free-spirited, in quotation, person, someone that likes to interact with people, get close to them, have those conversations. So how was it going with the mask rules? And I know in certain states, it's more of a, vaccines are required to go to restaurants and certain places. So how are you coping with all that?
Yeah, so I'm in California, which we lovingly refer to as California. So I actually met my boyfriend at the height of the very peak of the lockdown, right at the beginning. And to be perfectly frank, I only wore a mask when I was at work because I had to. And I actually got written up a couple times for not wearing it. But so I was part of a group of friends. We would go maskless grocery shopping once a week, and that was always an interesting experience. But I learned basically the places that I could go shopping without being hassled. They would ask me, do you have a mask? I'm like, no, thank you. Or I'm exempt. Or, I thought of all the loopholes, so to speak. So I never really participated in any of that. In fact, we burned our masks on New Year's Eve. So we don't even have them anymore. And we never stopped traveling. We went on trips. We always hung out with our friends because our friends were very like-minded to us. So it didn't really hinder me at all. In fact, it brought people into my life that are really true, honest, authentic friendships that have very similar values and things like that. So it kind of showed me who were my people and my tribe and who were not my tribe, kind of thing. So yeah, that it wasn't too terrible. Although the thing for me that's heartbreaking, I do have a son who's almost 9. Just seeing the kids still having to wear masks in school is very upsetting to me, just for a lot of the reasons that I had mentioned to you earlier. It's very bad for them psychologically to not see faces, you know, so that's been really the struggle for me with that.
To be honest with you, this is first time someone actually somewhat, I'm not saying convinced me, but made an actual decent argument of not wearing a mask. And which is good. Like, this is why I love this show. It's called Real Talk No Filter. And the funny thing is, hey, having a mask filters things. So without a mask is non-filter. So,
right.
So that's pretty awesome. You are vegetarian.
Yes.
To tell you the truth, I just ate lamb and it tastes so good. So
it's okay. My boyfriend's not a vegetarian, and I'm like, whatever, babe. Like, he eats what I cook when he's here. So when we go out to eat, like, he can have a steak. I don't care. So
okay, perfect. Mentioning that though, how come? Is it really so? I asked that question, how come? Because a lot of people have that choice. Well, everyone has that choice of being vegetarian or vegan or just eat whatever they want to eat. And then going to that, I'm trying to build some case, to be honest with you. Is it because of the hormones are pumped into the meat that you chose not to? Is it because, one, you feel that animals are these lovely dovey creatures that should not be eaten, and so on and so forth? Like, tell me your reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a conglomeration of multiple reasons. Initially, I did it for my health, my physical health. And by doing so, I was able to get off of my blood pressure medication and my anxiety and depression medication. So that was huge for me. And I just really felt better physically. I am a big, animal lover. I have a puppy who's in the other room right now because he will be going crazy if he was in here. But I don't go to SeaWorld. I don't go to horse races. I'm not really a big fan of the zoo. But I'm not like some crazy, like PETA, fanatic or anything like that. But I do believe also, you mentioned the hormones in the food. So foods that are really, really hormonal are obviously meat, because they do put the growth hormones in there. Also, dairy is very hormonal, and it's also very inflammatory. I mean, if you think about it, when these animals are producing milk, they're in a very hormonal state. So you're in turn taking those hormones in. On top of that, you get the stress hormones from the animals that are put in kind of inhumane conditions before they're slaughtered. So you're just taking in just all this garbage stuff. So that's pretty much why. So it's a few different reasons.
Mental health versus physical health. What's your take on that? I know we touched based on it, and you mentioned that you're a coach as well. So do you focus on anything in regards to physical health and mental health, or just strictly just the mental health for healing people?
So, I mean, it's definitely, there are elements of both, and they're both really important. I mostly focus on the emotional and mental portion. But obviously with my medical background, I am able to, give them some knowledge and some tools as far as, nutrition and things like that. So.
Okay, that's good then. That's good. And then one last thing that you mentioned, I was thinking about just now, about how the healthcare system pushes medicine. It's more of a quick fix, and I fully agree. One thing I've always thought about is it up to the patients to actually ask those questions to the doctors, saying, hey, is there a better solution than, hey, a quick fix on here's a Tylenol, here's an aspirin, or take 5 of these 10 times a day, or whatever it might be? Is it up to the patients, or are the doctors able to actually give them that advice?
Yeah, I think the responsibility lies on both parties for sure. The patient's job is to be their own advocate, as that was my job as a nurse, to be the patient's advocate. But I do feel that physicians in medical school, I don't know how much emphasis they place on lifestyle types of education for patients, but I do feel like that is a huge responsibility as a physician to educate your patients, because your patients look up to you. They look up to you for guidance, for advice, for knowledge. So I do I definitely believe the responsibility lies on both sides of the table.
Good. I like that answer. It's a good answer. Any final thoughts or anything that you would like to say?
No, I enjoyed our conversation a lot. So thank you so much for having me on here. And if anyone wants to book a call with me, they can do so, or they can email me. So I'm happy to provide that information if they are open to it. My email is hildietem, HILDIETM @gmail.com, or you can book a call with me with hilarydietmeyer.youcanbook.me. I know that's a lot of words and letters, but
Excellent. Hilary, it's been a treat. Thank you so much.
thank you very much.